Episode of Boxing News today, and we're going to start off the show as an update, I suppose, after Amanda Serrano's decision to vacate her WBC title. Now, Mauricio Sulaiman has come back with his response and has explained why he will not sanction, or the body will not sanction 12 3-minute rounds for women's world title fights. He's saying, and I'll encapsulate, for the safety of the sport. While the men's championship distance is 12 3-minute rounds, women's title fights are generally 10 rounds, 2 minutes apiece. But as we all know, in a trailblazing development, Amanda Serrano fought 12 threes, but the WBC would not sanction it. So only her IBF, WBA, and WBO belts were on the line when she fought Danila Ramos. So subsequently, as we all know, as of yesterday, she vacated those that WBC title in response. So here's what WBC President Sulaiman had to say. There's not much to say. The WBC has changed the world of boxing in many ways to make our sport safer and will never compromise safety for popularity. This is not discrimination. This is not sexism. This is not about equality. It is about safety and safety only. WBC has specific guidelines and rules for women in boxing, including not charging any sanctioning fees to any female boxer. And at their convention last month, the organization confirmed their women's championship fights would remain 10 2-minute rounds. He said, "We made a strong commitment for safety. We ratified everything that we have studied. Whoever wants to try challenging risk, it cannot be within the WBC structure." He also noted how exciting recent women's championship fights are over 10 twos. Perhaps it's a coincidence, he said. It came naturally, but the 2-minute rounds create huge action, great emotions. The risk with fighting for more time, you become more dehydrated and also tired, and that is very dangerous. We love the 2-minute rounds, especially for protection and safety, but also it's a great spectacle. So I'm sure the debate will rage on because I know Michaela Mayer and Natasha Jonas are certainly looking at making their upcoming fight into a 3-minute round event. And we all know the men already do that. So speaking of the men, let's move over to Robeisy Ramirez. He'll be making second defense of his WBO featherweight title this upcoming weekend against the challenger Rafael Espinoza, who we don't know much about. That fight will be taking place at the Dodge City Center in Pembroke Pines in Florida. Robeisy Ramirez, as you know, two-time Cuban Olympic gold medalist. He's 13-1 in the pros. Will be giving away a lot of height, apparently, and reach against the 6'1" Espinoza. He's 21-0, 18 knockouts, by the way. So it should be interesting to see how he deals with his size disadvantage against the Mexican fighter. We do know that Espinoza is what we call a fringe contender. It's number 11 WBO and has been toiling away in obscurity in Mexico, fighting weak opposition, apparently. Although it is said he is an Oscar Duarte type of fighter with a build-up resume filled with opposition with poor records. In the chief support bout on that particular night, unbeaten junior middleweight contender Xander Zayas, 17-0, 11 knockouts, faces Jorge Fortea, 24-3-1, by the way, in a 10-round contest. It's all being shown on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and ESPN Plus, beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Next year, we could see Robeisy defending his WBO 126 title against Naoya Monster Inoue in a massive fight if the Japanese star successfully defeats Marlon Tapales on December 26th in their super bantamweight undisputed championship. So let's see how that all goes. I mean, be interesting to see. Quite frankly, what could be a problem for Inoue is if he chooses to go up to 130 and take on the hulking WBO champion, Emmanuel Navarrete, who has the height and arm length of a middleweight. The size of Navarrete could prove to be a barrier to Inoue going past the 126-pound division if he's able to defeat the top dog, Robeisy, which is a big if. Moving along to an upcoming fight we're looking forward to taking place over in Saudi Arabia on that card on that night. I believe it's December 23rd/24th, depending on where you are in the time zone in the world. We're looking at Jarrell Miller taking on Deontay Wilder. And I got to say, Gerald Miller is not keeping his mouth shut. Yes, Wilder may be a rival, but at the same time, he's said some things that are pretty interesting. Big Baby Miller is not afraid to speak his mind, as he has in the past. And yeah, a verbal back and forth with Wilder, apparently at a press conference. The former world champion even claimed that they sparred to settle differences and that he sent Miller to the hospital with a concussion. Wow. It surprised some pundits then, as I said, at a recent press conference to announce their upcoming fight. Miller ignored his countryman, speaking to Boxing Social. He explained it's because he has other goals in mind right now. The beef with Deontay is not squashed, but I've seen him and his trainer today. I know Malik Scott a long time, and he looked at me like he was kind of shocked. Deontay looked my way, and I feel we know what's at stake right now. We're the only two Americans on the card, and he kept his distance, so I don't really have anything to say to him. Definitely more of a personal vendetta with Eddie Hearn and AJ, 100% for sure. I think me and Deontay will have it at some good point, but right now I'm really tuning in for that title shot or AJ's head, point blank, period. The animosity apparently between the two dates back to when Miller failed drug tests in the immediate run-up to his proposed fight with Joshua in June 2019 at Madison Square Garden. It was pulled, but it remains the scope for the two to face off in the ring to settle their differences. For now, Joshua has his sights set on his own December 23rd opponent, Otto Wallen. Right on. Now, you might wonder what Deontay Wilder has to say about all this stuff. He said with respect to Tyson Fury going up against Alexander Fury, Tyson Fury going up against Alexander Usyk in February next year, hopefully. Wilder said he's just glad rival heavyweight champs Usyk and Fury are finally set to fight for all the marbles, for all 4 heavyweight titles. The main reason? Because, as the former WBC heavyweight champ said when speaking publicly, it will make it easier for him to become undisputed heavyweight champ down the road. Wilder must defeat his live underdog, Joseph Parker, on the stacked December 23rd card in Saudi Arabia. And I said recently he aims to wipe out the current heavyweight division and become undisputed champ before he walks away from the sport. There is, as we know, talk of Wilder fighting Anthony Joshua next year in what would be a massive final eliminator for the WBC belt that Wilder once held, that is now the property of Fury, and could be strapped around Usyk's waist after their fight with Fury next year. And Wilder's confident he will hold all the silverware come 2024. It's a 50-50 fight. Anything can happen, Wilder said of the Fury-Usyk fight. People look at Fury's size as a major advantage, but that doesn't necessarily mean nothing because Usyk can stay low to the ground, and because Fury's so tall, it's going to be difficult to reach down. If Usyk can get in and out real fast, I feel speed could be a major factor. For me, it's 50-50, though, and I'm glad it's finally happening so we all get the belts in one place. That's going to make it easier for me to fight for the unification of those belts, so I won't have to fight different champions and have different champions running away because of what he's seen me do to the last opponent. All right. So that Deontay Wilder fight versus Joseph Parker taking place Saturday, December 23rd, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Ring walk times are to be confirmed, but Wilder versus Parker will be the co-main event. And it's going to be on DAZN pay-per-view, FYI. And if you've purchased the pay-per-view, you can live stream the huge bill on the DAZN app as well. You're looking at, over in the UK, £19.99 and $39.99 US dollars. If you've not already subscribed to DAZN UK, you can watch DAZN for £9.99 a month. They let me know. How nice of them. And I'm letting you know. All right, let's have a quick look now at Gervonta Davis. He's made it clear he doesn't want to be elevated from his current regular WBA lightweight title to full champion status with the sanctioning body following Devin Haney's revelation that he's vacating his 4 belts at 135. If Tank agrees to be elevated to WBA full champion, he'd be thrown in suddenly with the general population at lightweight, and that's risky for someone who's arguably been segregated from all the killers at 135. He even said, I don't want that shit. So let's see what happens next. But the reason why the 29-year-old, according to the writers at BoxingNews24.com, the reason why the 29-year-old Tank Davis 29-0, by the way, 27 knockouts, doesn't want to be elevated full champion are as follows, they say. Sanctioning fees attached with being a full champion, having to deal with mandatory dangerous challengers, less freedom, and email champion stigma. How peculiar is that last one? But probably the biggest wins, the reason why Tank Davis is resistant to being made a full WBA champ is being forced to defend against risky mandatory challenges. And who might they be? You might look at Frank Martin, Raymond Murtala, Vasily Lomachenko, Edwin Dos Santos, Shakur Stevenson, William Zepeda, Keyshawn Davis, and of course, Floyd Schofield, who's making his mark, as we've been talking about for quite a while here on Talkin Fight. Anyway, Gervonta's carved out a nice little living fighting soft opposition at lightweight, beating guys like Ryan Garcia, washed out Leo Santos Cruz, Rolando Romero, and Yuriorkis Gamboa. That bunch is as weak as they come, so it's not surprising that Tank Davis wants nothing to do with being elevated full WBA champ and having to deal with mandatory challengers. And he's already probably sitting on a decent nest egg in that range of $10 million, I'll bet. A little less than, say, Ryan Garcia, but nonetheless, good money. He should retire soon. Anyway, let's move over to a couple of European fighters. It's official. WBA Intercontinental Super Welterweight champ Oliver Meng, 12-0, defends the title against Italian contender Felice Montelli on January 13th at the Royal Arena in Copenhagen. In the co-feature, WBC silver featherweight title holder Sarah Mahfoud, 14-1, meets Michelle Braga, 6-0. And the undercard features the likes of heavyweight Matthias Hansen, 2-0, and cruiserweights Hamza Hussein and Torbjörn Bogajard. German super middleweight prospect Mask Suske, 8-1, headlines an event in Stralsund on March 16th and against opponent to be announced. The show is being billed as Stralsund Boxed, and more info will be announced in the coming days, apparently. Elsewhere, Spanish super lightweight Samuel Molina, 26-3, will now take on Brit boxer Les Byfield, 10-1-1 on Saturday upcoming in Malaga, and Byfield steps in for Luis Enrique Romero. The undercard features Swedish light heavyweight Kostas Nanga, 10-0, who is in against Venezuelan fighter Ivan Motute, 30-15-2, by the way. Danish TK Promotions has signed up heavyweight Morten Zizkov, who will make his pro debut on February 13 in Kolding. Kirchkov has 99 amateur fights behind him and has, according to the knockoff DK, won a number of international tournaments. Headline in Kolding is WBO Euro King Jacob Bank, 11-0, who defends the title against Spanish veteran Ronnie Landieta, 21-5, by the way. There you go. One quick note as I conclude the show. 58-year-old Scott England set a Guinness World Record for being the oldest fighter to make his pro boxing debut on Tuesday night down at the Texas Troubadour Theater in Nashville, Tennessee. In the fight, 23-year-old opponent Jashawn Hunter, sporting 1-6 record now, dropped England hard in the first 5 seconds. England, however, got up woozy, and after about 25 seconds, the bout resumed. England took a few more shots before the towel was waved in by his corner. In another battling action there, cruiserweight Deontay Wilder, 7-3-2, took an 8-round split decision over Charles Dale in good scrap. Unbeaten heavyweight Eric Arellano, 10-0, scored a bizarre 4th-round TKO over Armando Reeves. Reeves' gloves touched the canvas after a push, which is ruled a knockdown. Reeves complained about the call, and the referee then waved off the bout at 2 minutes 52 seconds. There you go. All the news fit to print. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see you later on at 4 p.m. when I join Mike Corfish show Knuckle Up, and then you'll see me back on the air tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. On Friday, December 8th. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. See you later.